You're a busy professional. You don't have time for fluff. You need strategies that work, and you need them fast. Welcome to Busy Bro Fast Wellness with me, your host, Alan Welch. We're here to give you science-backed hacks and actionable tips to boost your focus, minimize friction, and maximize your results. Less time, more impact. It's time to get well, stay strong, and thrive. Let's get to it.
Hello and welcome back to Busy Bro Fast Wellness. Today's episode stems from two simple words. And these two words, they are far more powerful than they ever first appear. They are, nobody cares. And before you think, oh crikey, what is this? What's he talking about now? Well, this is not depressing at all. This is liberating. This is the mental freedom that so many of us desperately need. And I'd like to start with this opening quote. You would worry less what people think of you if you realized how seldom they do. And that's by somebody called Olin Miller. For me, for years, decades even, I really care deeply what people thought of me. Not in a healthy way, not in a grounded, self-aware way, but more in a sense of bordering on total paranoia. Like so many people, and I'm thinking of George from Seinfeld as I'm speaking now. If you ever watched that American sitcom of the late 80s, early 90s, or the mid 80s, he desperately wanted to be liked. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to miss out, which is quite the reverse these days. I feared people's opinions, their judgments, even the ones that never actually existed. So I was making stuff up in my own mind. And then, later, life taught me a lesson. It taught me a lesson that took years. Many countries and countless daily interactions before it finally sank in. Nobody cares. And if they do, it's only for a few seconds. So let me explain. I recall, way back in the early 90s, when I was living in Turkey in Istanbul, I used to take this early morning local train every day to work. And during my journey on that train, people would stare at me again and again, and I'd have all these heads looking at me. So I'd like to think a keen sense of humour. Looking back on it, not so much now. I sort of am embarrassed to admit this. This is a little story that happened at the time, but I created a small game. I would suddenly look out of the window with shock, as if I'd seen something unbelievable. My face was quickly aghast, like I'd seen a ghost or something, and instantly, half of that carriage, those people that were watching me, they would whip their heads towards the window, pause, and they'd see absolutely nothing. And then they'd quietly return to whatever they were doing. They just lost interest in me, they lost interest in what they were looking at because there was nothing to look at. There was no embarrassment, no self-awareness, no concern for me whatsoever. Oh, just, well, there's nothing there. And they'd go back to their own thoughts, chuffing away on their ciggies. In those days you could smoke on trains, believe it or not. Talking early 90s now. Or reading a paper. And this taught me the lesson, really, that people don't care about you nearly as much as you think. They care about what's next in their own lives. So we constantly imagine this judgmental audience watching over every move. But in reality, people are worried about their own deadlines, their own insecurities, their own finances, their relationships, their own image, and ultimately their own internal battles. So you're a character in someone else's story for a few seconds, then their plot line just skips back to themselves and their own thoughts. once you embrace this truth, something magical happens. You become free. Free to try. Free to fail. Free to start. Free to speak. Free to show up authentically. Free to make mistakes. And just free to grow. Having that nobody cares mindset is sheer liberation. It means this: people aren't analysing you, so go do that thing you've been wanting to do, but something's been holding you back. That fear. And as is often the case on my podcasts, I like to have some practical element wherever possible. So think about simple ways to put this philosophy into practice. Publish something imperfectly. Send that email. Post that idea. Share that message. Most people skim. They don't look closely. They won't dissect your message like you imagine they would. Oh, a little tiny grammar mistake there. Nobody cares. I said the wrong word there. I didn't express myself effectively. Nobody cares. Walk into rooms without self-consciousness. Nobody's judging your shoes. Nobody's looking at your hair, your posture. They're just thinking about their lunch or their deadlines, stuff that's going on in their own minds. Stop rehearsing conversations in your head. The audience is tiny and distracted. Don't overthink how you appear. Wear what feels right. Say what feels true. Do the things you've not yet started because of an imagined judgment. It could be a skill. It might be establishing some type of habit. It might be a dream or a project. Maybe to write something that means something to you. For me, for example, I've been working on a book for a couple of months, off and on now. It's got to do with this podcast, but I just started it a couple of months ago. I dip into it here and there when I have the time. I will get there sooner or later, and it'll be good. It'll be readable and worthwhile. But I'm not going to be painstakingly perfect about the book, because nobody really cares. Obviously, I care that my work is good enough, but just not to the point of perfectionism. If I had that mindset, I would never finish any project because of that paranoid perfectionist streak that stops so many people from even starting, let alone finishing. Nobody's watching. So go and create. And one of the greatest freedoms we gain in life is realizing that most people aren't thinking about us at all. And here is a quote that I've adapted because I haven't got the book right in front of me now, but it's from Sahil Bloom's book, The 5 Types of Wealth. And he says something along the lines of, one of the greatest freedoms we gain in life is realizing that most people aren't thinking about us at all. So, today, let go of that fictional audience. Nobody cares. And the moment you truly accept that, you can begin to live. We can begin to live. If this episode resonated with you, please like, follow, or leave a quick review, preferably on that seeming king of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts. It genuinely helps more busy professionals discover the podcast and discover fast, actionable wellness tips. Until next time, remember, nobody cares. Goodbye for now.